We're just a couple of minutes now away from actually calling the meeting to order. And before we call the meeting to order, I'd like to invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then I'll bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day you've given us. Thank you for the way you protect us, the way you provide for us. God, thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow residents here in the city of Springdale. And God, I just ask that you give us direction tonight in all the decisions we make. And we ask these things now in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, before we call the meeting to order, well, let me first say we do have large print agendas available over here. Bill's got them, if that would be helpful to anyone. Before we call the meeting to order, I'm going to turn it over to our City Attorney, Ernest Cate, for a public hearing. Ernest?
Thank you, Mayor. The city had a request to vacate a drainage easement, and if you'll recall, a resolution was passed by the City Council on November 27th of last year that's set tonight for the public hearing on the issue of vacating the drainage easement. The actual proposed ordinance actually vacating the drainage easements on the agenda, but by statute, we're required to hold a public hearing prior to taking up the ordinance. So if anybody here wishes to speak?
Anyone to speak on that issue? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and then I will call to order this regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. Happy New Year, everybody. And we'll start things off by asking our City Clerk, Denise Pierce, to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse.
Here.
Amelia Williams. Here. Jeff Watson.
Here.
Mike Overton.
Here.
Colby Fulfer.
Here.
Mike Lawson.
Here.
Rick Evans.
Here.
Brian Powell.
Here.
Kathy J. Cox. Here. Ernest Cate.
All right, thank you. We're all here, and we're at item 5 on the agenda, and this is the time that the council sets aside at each regular meeting to hear comments from our citizens. If we have citizens that would like to address the council, we ask that you come to the microphone, clearly state your name and address, and keep your comments brief. And please understand that we won't take action on anything you have to say tonight. So if there is anyone that would like to speak about an issue that is not already on tonight's agenda, you'll have an opportunity to speak to those things when your agenda item comes up. So if there's anyone that would like to speak to anything that's not on tonight's agenda, you're welcome to come at this time. All right, we'll move on to item 6, the approval of minutes. Council, you've had an opportunity to look over those minutes as presented. If there are no changes or additions, I would entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. What is your pleasure on procedural motions, Council?
Second.
Motion and a second for A and B. Roll call, please.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell.
Yes.
J. Cox. Yes. Williams. Yes.
Carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. Now we'll move right into that public or the ordinance that relates to the public hearing we just held. Right, Ernest? So go ahead.
This is an ordinance releasing, vacating, and abandoning a drainage easement located on property in Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas, to declare an emergency for other purposes. My understanding, the emergency on this, I think they've got a large-scale
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any further comments or discussion? Does anyone in the room need to make comments on this? Okay, Denise?
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell.
Yes.
J. Cox. Yes. Williams. Yes. Watson.
Yes.
Second. Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Powell.
Yes.
J. Cox. Yes. Williams. Yes. Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes. Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 8-0.
All right, thank you. Item 9 is a resolution approving reappointments to the Springdale Planning Commission. I'll go ahead and take that, and we have two expiring terms on our Planning Commission. Those currently held by Roy Covert and Shannon Mueller. They have both expressed a willingness to continue to serve for another term, and that's my recommendation to the council. So we have a resolution approving reappointments to the Springdale Planning Commission.
Resolution passed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or questions? Anyone? All right, Denise?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams. Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Carries 8-0.
All right. I know Roy's here. I don't see Shannon, but unless I'm missing her. But thank you all for your willingness to continue to serve. Appreciate that. Item 9 is a resolution approving reappointments to the Springdale. Well, actually, that was it. This is approving appointments. Item 10, I'm sorry. A resolution approving appointments to the Springdale Planning Commission. We have two unfulfilled terms. Aaron Panada has taken a job elsewhere and had to relocate. And, of course, Brian Powell, a new councilman, has left a vacancy on our Planning Commission. I've given you the names of the two individuals that I'm bringing forward, asking you to approve appointment to the Planning Commission. Very impressed and excited. Many of you know Ben, and of course James David is here. James, raise your hand too. Here's James, and then Ben Peters, and they've both expressed a desire to fulfill these unfulfilled terms, and I'm bringing them forward. And this is a resolution approving appointments to the Springdale Planning Commission.
Resolution passed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Evans, Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams. Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Carries 8-0.
Great. Thank you guys also, and appreciate your willingness to serve, and look forward to working with you. All right, item 11, a resolution approving an appointment to the Energy Improvement District Number 1. I'm going to have to get to this one. Excuse me, pardon me. Are y'all familiar with the Energy Improvement District? We started participating in that, how long ago, Brad? Probably a year, something like that, 2 years? Time flies, doesn't it? Jennifer Langford has expressed an interest. The way this works, there are actually 2 openings on this board. We partner with Fayetteville in a way. They started this. They allowed us to join in, and hopefully it's going to turn into a great opportunity for some energy efficiency improvements for I think we're at commercial properties right now, isn't it, that they work with. So there are some opportunities there, and this board is engaged in evaluating those and trying to move those forward. The council approves one position, and then the mayor also appoints a position. So I'm asking you to approve Jennifer as the council appointee, and then I will later name an appointee. I haven't quite decided on mine yet. So, okay. I have not read it. A resolution approving an appointment to the Energy Improvement District Number 1. Maybe I did, but now it's been read twice.
I move that this resolution pass.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. And a second. All right, any further questions or comments? Go ahead.
Just a couple questions about this, whatever it's called, improvement district. Did you say the city of Springdale has 2?
Actually, we've got more than that on it.
It's 4-3, and Fayetteville's got
We have a
4, we
staff,
have 3.
we have a staff member. We have a.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we have 4.
We have 4 board members, and then we send a staff member.
And
They
you-
have-
Can you select one?
Fayetteville
and the
has one more
councils-
than we do.
I think we have the same now.
Oh,
They
it
did
started,
have-
yeah, it started out,
And there was a transition
then,
period.
yeah, it sat a year two, it was
And you
equity,
select
yeah.
one and the
I
council?
select one, the council selects one. The other two are still serving. I don't know how, I don't remember whether I selected any.
They're staggered terms.
They're staggered terms.
This
so-
one by Jennifer Langford is the one that we're selecting?
Yes, that's what I'm,
Is there someone in that position now that's,
they have, their position is,
Expired.
their term has expired.
And she has a background in,
Yeah.
in that
Right.
area.
Yeah,
so
she's
that
very
would
well,
be,
very
that'd
well qualified.
Be a good asset to have on there.
Okay, any other questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Powell,
yes?
Jaycox?
Yes.
Williams? Yes. Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Wolfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am. Carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. Item 12, Street and CIP Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Rick Evans. Rick?
We had a meeting last night of the Street and CIP. We have 5 items on the agenda tonight, and all 5 were brought before council for approval. And if I have Brad come on up and explain it to us. The first one is a resolution authorizing the execution of a construction contract for Gene George Boulevard. And this is the section from Harbor to Elm Springs. And it's $6,899,199.25.
Resolution passed.
Okay.
Second.
This one's with Crossland, right?
APAC.
No, this is with APAC. The next one's
APAC,
with Crossland.
this is the north piece.
This
of
is the
puzzle.
north piece, right. This would be from Harbor to Elm Springs Road.
Elm Springs Road.
I've got, I apologize, I was sick last night, so I saw something, I've got a question on this. It looks like sent out in August 21st, Street Bond Projects has from Harbor to Elm Springs on this thing that we were sent out, 14,740,000. And then the one in May, it had, I know we've changed up segments of this, but the one in May said 4,292,104. So I just want to make sure that, I didn't know if we were going in way over budget or coming in way under budget.
What I can tell you is if you put both of these projects together, from Blue all the way to Elm Springs Road, we're at about $1 million below estimates.
Below the 14?
Yes.
Colby, it was explained to us last night, and Brad, you can, if I'm wrong, you can correct me, that these two projects were separated out because there's a bridge involved in one, and so therefore they were trying to make sure that it was clear, the projects themselves. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Mike, you weren't there either, I apologize.
I think maybe since we got the last summary table, we may have split these up differently, but there's quite a bit of discrepancy on there, but maybe we just need a updated.
I have one in my office. I'll get
Is
you.
there a discrepancy in
at
the
end of
total
meeting.
between the two projects?
Yeah, like the one in August that we got said 14,740,000, but that was only from Harbor to Elm Springs, which seems really high. And then Blue to Harbor in August, it said 11,500,000. And these two estimates are way off on that. So
Right.
maybe if we just get an updated table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we
I've
were
got
going-
one that went back to, I believe in May, we sorted everything out. There were various parts swirling before that, so, and I've compared this one to that one, which is the 14 million.
Compared to the last one, we're
We're about $1 million.
about $1
under.
million under.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks, Colby. Any other questions? Comments? We did get a motion to second, did we not? And this is just for the first item, correct? Item A, 12A. All right, roll call, please.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Wolfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Powell?
Yes.
8-0.
Okay, now we'll move on to item B, which is the,
And the next one is a resolution authorizing execution of a contract, construction contract for Gene George Boulevard, second phase to Crossland for $5,125,325.50 on the bond project. And it was also recommended for approval.
Resolution passes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Probably covered them under the last one. All right, anyone in the audience? Okay, Denise?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
8-0.
And next, we have a resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment of an engineering service contract for street and drainage improvement to Maple Avenue. And if Brad wants to be explaining that why we added something to it, basically for water line improvement.
Just stay up here for these, Brad. Yeah.
Is this for water lines or is this for amending the bike trails on Maple?
Water line.
Water line?
This is on the new portion that's being designed from Holcomb to
With or without bike trails?
Park.
It's got a side path.
It'll have a side path, a wide sidewalk.
Oh, a wide bike path on the side. Okay.
You can explain, Brad, why,
It'll
what
be-
happened with the water department.
Yeah, originally we asked the water department if they had any water lines that were being affected. Their first answer was no. As we got to the end of the project, they realized, yes, they did have some water lines that were affected, and so this is to cover their.
Which illustrates the point that you've been trying to do, to map all of the utilities so we know exactly what we're getting into before we start a
Yes, sir.
project.
Yep, we just found another one. All right. Any other questions for Brad? Anybody in the audience? Okay, Denise? We didn't get a motion.
I'll move the resolution pass.
Second.
Thank you.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Carries 8-0.
Okay, and next, we have a resolution authorizing the transfer of property to Corinne Hart, aka Corinne Schaefer. This is on, probably on Spring Project, where we're basically giving her a piece of property we have that's a remnant out there for an easement that we need from her. So we're saving money on all of it.
Right, the right-of-way, if we had purchased the right-of-way for, I think the number was 23,000, almost 23,000, it would have left the property owner with access issues. And they proposed, since we have a remnant already out there that's really no use to us except we get to mow it, they would take that instead of us paying for the right-of-way. So, good deal for both.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Williams, Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Carries 8-0.
Okay, and last, we have a resolution authorizing the execution of a construction manager contract, a road improvement. This is out around the park, where we're basically using milestones to do a pre-construction service to put both of them together, the road work and the park at the same time. Save money in the long run.
Right. We believe go ahead, Kathy, I'm sorry. Well, I was just going to add to Rick's comment that we believe Milestone's doing the park out there, a lot of dirt work involved, a lot of other issues that we believe there will be savings. We know another company won't have to mobilize to build the roads. We think those projects running with the same contractor have a great potential for some savings. So, okay.
But that's not the same contractor, it's a construction manager though, isn't it?
Construction manager.
It's construction manager, right? It's the same construction manager for both projects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. All right. Anybody else?
Well, I have a question,
Okay.
and it was kind of the same question I had last night, and I'm still not sure I'm clear on my question. And to the audience, I'll just remind everybody that part of the reason why it seems like we go through these ordinances and resolutions so fast is because we had committee meetings where we've discussed them before, So unfortunately, a lot of the discussion takes place in committee. But my point is that at the committee meeting last night, the question was, when you have a construction manager on a project, they go out and solicit prices for construction services, correct? And the question was, are they precluded from pricing their own company pricing for some of the services on that project? And I think the answer was, no, they can go ahead and price it themselves as well.
To give us, yes, if that gives, now, I think, now, some CM, Brad, and you weren't involved in this, but I know on the fire stations, there was a percentage of how much of the work they could perform themselves. I don't know that that's in here or not. What'd you say?
I'm not sure what the
I don't think, so there may not be a limit on this, but they're to shop the best prices and give us a not to exceed.
And do what?
And give us a not to exceed price. Rather than us having a bid opening and wondering what it's gonna be, we have a not to exceed price. That's the way we have already voted to do the park, and we think adding the streets makes sense. Around the
To
park.
Jeff's point, nothing against Milestone, but what makes them go out and get quotes if they can just do it themselves?
Well, we have, Brad, I think we have ways of knowing if someone was not trying to get the best prices. We have quantities, and we can figure, we have engineered plans. Yeah, we have one right there.
Well, that's part of the reason I assume that some of the contracts put a percentage in there on how much the construction manager, how much of it they can be involved in, maybe. I mean, that's in there for some reason. But it's not in this one.
Brad, I hate to ask you another question. Do you think it's beneficial, same way we're talking about engineering services not doing their own inspection, do you think it's beneficial to have someone else do the construction management and the construction?
Inspection?
Well, like we're doing with the engineering, the construction inspection, we're saying they can't inspect their own project. I know it's two different things, but is it more beneficial to have those
I think
two
of the
split up?
construction manager in these as the general contractor, and then they solicit subcontracts.
But sometimes they would be the subcontractor
They
themselves.
can
And
be.
so the question is that the best way to do it, having the general contractor oversee themselves as a subcontractor?
The general
Well,
contractor.
what his point is on inspections, I guess apparently there's a restriction on the,
Okay, inspections are different than the construction manager.
Right. We still need to get them inspected.
They'll be inspected.
yeah, I think he was just making a similar question though, not a relevant
Yeah.
question, but a similar question, that, you want to rephrase it?
Well, in similar fashion to, we don't want, what we're talking about doing with this new approach is not letting the construction inspection be from the engineering firm to inspect themselves. I mean, in the same way, in the construction, is it more beneficial to have another company be the construction management as opposed to who does the I just don't know if there's a benefit either way.
I don't know that
It's just like you said, this is a general contractor,
Right.
which is what you're looking
Yeah.
at. It's entirely different than having engineering firm do a specific project and then inspect their own. The general responsible for everything. So they're ultimately, the bottom line is, it's their nickel, period.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, we go back
It's on
to
them.
these folks,
It's
period.
just one-
Because they are the general.
yes.
I mean, this is the same process we're using on the criminal justice. It's the same process we've used on the fire
It's the same
station.
thing we've used on other projects.
What the difference is, and I mentioned this last night, we've never done it on roads before.
Right.
But the reason we're going to do it this way, or I hope we do it this way, is because I believe the savings are there because of mobilization fees, because of dirt, maybe bringing dirt in, taking dirt out.
Based on past experience of using a construction contractor, our general. So it'd be more convenient to call it a general contractor instead of a construction manager.
I think it's
Less
just two
coordination.
different methods under state law.
As opposed to, the other method would be to put
To
out
bid it.
bids for a general contractor
Yes.
to do the project.
Correct.
Other questions? We don't have a second. We have a motion, but no second.
Second.
We've got a second now. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in the audience also? Okay, Denise?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans, Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Williams, Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
8-0.
Yeah. All right, item 13, Police and Fire Committee report and recommendations. Chairperson,
Mayor, I oversaw this resolution before the committee last night. If that's
okay,
all
I was
right.
going to let Amelia have an opportunity to take it, but,
Well, that's all right if you want to. Okay.
okay.
Item number 13 was considered in committee. It was voted to move forward to council and recommendation for approval. Resolution authorizing the execution of a contract for new radio system for the fire and police departments and for other purposes.
Okay.
Move the resolution pass.
Resolution's been read. We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion or questions?
I got some questions. Number one, when we had committee meeting back when we heard from the fire chief and the police chief, I specifically asked what the top number was going to be. I asked if it was going to be $4 million, and I was assured, no, we're looking at in the neighborhood of $3 million. This total here is 4.3, $4,318,000. And also, I understood that none of this was going to come out of the CIP. Maybe I didn't hear it right.
We knew that we couldn't pay for portable radios, the portable radios, out of the bond.
I understood it was going to be coming out of I remember I thought being told that it's going to be coming out of the bond program, either for the CIP or for the criminal justice system or for the equipment. And at no time did I hear that we were going to take another $1.3 million out of the, or $1.1 million out of CIP. That just isn't the way I heard it.
Okay. Well,
And what happened to the original numbers we were told about the total cost? Because we were told that, well, they'd narrowed it down and they were joggling back and forth and they didn't feel like we were going to spend over $3 million for it. Now we've exceeded that appreciably.
Mike, I'm going to confess, I don't remember that. I don't remember that figure. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I don't remember that. I don't remember getting anywhere near a firm figure because we didn't know. I do remember that we had an estimate that we knew how much to put in our bond for the criminal justice, how much to add to that, based on what we knew, the portion of the AWIN system that we could pay for out of the criminal justice bond. Then we have since found that we can buy the fire radios legally out of the fire portion of the bond, not out of the criminal justice portion, but out of the fire portion. We don't have a police portion of the bond besides the criminal justice, and we cannot buy the portable radios out of the criminal justice. So those police radios have to come out of another source, have to come from another source.
Where does that leave the balance of the CIP?
Well, hard to say because this will be paid out over probably close to a year or maybe over a year, and the majority of it will come out at the end of that, toward the end of that year. What comes out of CIP,
This is
because
all-
they'll be the portable radios.
This is all based on our guesstimates about what our sales tax are going to be, correct?
Well, if you approve this, we're buying them. So.
Oh, no, I'm talking
Yeah.
about when we look at CIP, we're assuming that we're going to meet all the sales tax projections that are in our budget instead of looking at hard numbers right now.
Right, and if you want to look at hard numbers, yes, that's correct. CIP will grow throughout the year, and it'll probably be close to a year before most of this money that we're asking out of CIP will come out. And it's at, what is it right now? You've got a report. I'm thinking it's around, I was thinking it was close to $4 million.
$4 million is unencumbered.
Last one we got was October 31st that I saw on Dropbox, and it's at 3.172. But we've got, yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
I'm gonna piggyback a little bit off what Mike just mentioned, though, about it coming out of CIP. I remember we were gonna go back and ask Shep, is it possible to do this? And I was under the impression in our meeting that we were gonna be able to take it out of the bond. And one of the other reasons that, sure that that's what was stated, was whenever we looked at the budget, the approved budget, for police and fire, it's not under any of the capital requests in the budget. And then when we went through and asked every department, what requests are you gonna have out of CIP, that's not listed anywhere.
Guys, every time we've mentioned CIP, I have kept, almost every time I could think of it, I mentioned, now keep in mind, we know we've got expenditures coming out of CIP. We still got the radio system, we've got a CAD system. And I've mentioned that multiple times.
Well, I know the CAD was mentioned, because that was discussed whenever we were talking about the raises. I brought that up because that's been one of the things that I've been cautious about, because I knew that was coming up. We didn't have a price. Maybe they discussed that last night, I don't know, but I was under the impression that this was going to come out of the bond, because that's going to take a third out of what we have in CIP, which is, it's about to be reduced pretty significantly this year already. I mean, I'm not saying we obviously have to make this purchase, but I think that weighed heavily into at least my decision on some of these other things, because it's not in the budget out of the general, and it wasn't listed in any of the CIP requests. And I wasn't factoring it in because I was under the impression that this was going to come out of the bond.
All right. I thought we were clear from the beginning that the radios, the police radios, the portables, could not be purchased out of the criminal justice bond. So we evidently didn't all have that same understanding.
This is something we're definitely going to have to support. We've got to have the system, but I think it leans us more in a position to realize going into this year that we're going to have to say no to a lot of things in CIP with the reduction that we're taking in there. And I just wanted to reiterate that.
I make a motion, resolution pass. Oh, second?
We got a motion, a second?
Okay.
All right.
I thought we were being quiet for a reason.
I agree with you totally, Colby, that we're really going to have to tighten our belts on the CIP, especially with this expenditure and the CAD system that apparently is coming down the road as well. So it's really going to put the pressure on us to pay close attention to that CIP fund.
Anybody else? Okay, Denise.
Evans? Powell?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
No.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
7-1.
All right, thank you. Item 14, Finance Committee report and recommendations. Chairman Jeff Watson. Jeff?
Mayor, the Finance Committee also met last night, and the first item that the committee discussed was an item that was left over from the budget process last November and December. It had to do with the setting of salaries for elected officials. There was a lot of discussion back and forth on that issue. The ordinance that is presented tonight, title reads, an ordinance setting the salaries of the elected officials and planning commission members of the Springdale, Arkansas, and repealing ordinance number 5224. That ordinance was that was presented to the committee last night with city council members, planning commission members, mayor, city clerk / treasurer, and city attorney, and with those salaries attached to those persons. was amended as presented for the city council members, as presented was reduced from 11,000 to 10,800. Planning Commission members was increased from 3,600 per year to $4,200 per year. There were no other changes made to the mayor's salary, city clerk, treasurer, or city attorney. With those changes, those amendments to the council members and the planning commission members, the finance committee forwarded that ordinance to the council with recommendation for approval.
Okay. Have you read it, Jeff?
I did read it, and I'll move that the ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, other discussion? Anyone in the audience? Okay, Denise?
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
No.
Fulfer,
No.
Lawson,
No, ma'am.
Evans.
5-3. It does have an emergency clause to make it effective January 1st, which is consistent with the rest of the budget.
So the emergency clause won't affect the dollars at all? Because this is,
Right, it would just make it
this
effective. January.
retroactive the first of the year, so it wouldn't change the dollars. Okay. I was, right, okay,
Remainder of the budget.
right. Okay, Denise? Oh, we need a second for the emergency. Okay.
Emergency clause.
If I thought this was an emergency, I would second it.
Well,
I understand what you're saying about,
It's just gonna make that office upstairs have to go back further.
fine, somebody else can.
Second.
Jaycox, Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Yes.
Fulfer, Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans, Powell.
Yes.
emergency clause carries 8-0.
Thank you. All right. Now we're at item 15, an ordinance authorizing the city clerk to file a cleanup lien. I'm gonna let Ernest read that. He usually does those.
Thank you. This is an ordinance authorizing the city clerk to file a cleanup lien for the removal of overgrown brush and debris on property located within the city of Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. This is on property located at 403 Cleveland Street.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there anyone in the audience that needs to address any of these addresses? These issues? Okay. Any further questions, council, about any of them? All right, Denise?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans, Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
The reason there's an emergency is there's a statutory time provision that we have to follow.
Second.
Overton,
Yes.
Fulfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes,
Powell,
Yes.
Jaycox,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Emergency clause carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. Comments from department heads? Anyone? City council?
Welcome to our newest members.
Welcome, Brian Powell and Amelia Williams.
And to the new planning commission members.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys, again. All right, anything from city attorney? Just notice, at the top of the agenda, I just point this out, the committee meeting will be next Monday, January 14th. That is not the third Monday because of the way the calendar fell this year, but we're going to do it on the 14th so that we don't, again, have a committee meeting the night before a council meeting. So everybody clear on that? I just wanted to explain to folks why it was not going to be on the third Monday this month. Okay. I have a motion to adjourn. Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.